Good evening. This is Edward with sonsofgod.com, and it is Sunday, the 10th of October, 2021. We had prepared a word for this evening. However, we're going to move that over to tomorrow evening. And it is a word that really concerns the reality of what sonship is, what the sons of God are, what we should be expecting. More and more people, I am finding, or shall I say very few people, really have an understanding of what's happening within them and to themselves in what God is bringing forth. So tomorrow evening, probably about the same time, we'll dive into that, and no holes barred, that's going to ring some bells. This evening, however, is something that is extremely important. And I think here again, this is last minute. I haven't prepared anything, so I don't really have scriptures to pull out for you. But the importance of this topic, and we've spoken of this topic before, until I'm sure all of us are a little bit numb because we've meditated on it, we've thought about it. But like everything in what God is doing, the revelation has to go deeper. It cannot be mental. And we know that the way the kingdom comes forth by people who have received the kingdom, who have experienced the kingdom. And they are therefore able to move forward with the plan of what God is doing. Just checking again to make sure our wires are all hooked up and ready to go. So, what I want to talk about tonight is the warfare of the saints that we've been in. I'm not sure everyone is at different levels, just by virtue of the maturity and the personal dealings of God upon their lives. But we are so much in the wrap-up of things. We are at the 11th hour. We're at the point where the dominoes are going to start falling much more quickly. And we've said that. The switch has been flipped. Things are moving. They're going to move more quickly. And like what the Lord said a few years back, is the battle is coming sooner than you think. And it will be on a level that you can't even imagine in the physical, aside from in the spirit and in the heavens. And that's not anything that would create a fearfulness. It just tells us that what is coming, and actually right now I would say is on the periphery of beginning to unfold, is why we're here, to begin to move with the authority of the nations, the authority of the kings and priests, the authority of the Lord. And one thing that we've tried to do over the years is to break down the word from seeming like a wonderful concept and theory, and so you're into a reality, into let's put some legs and feet and arms to this, and let's see it for what it really is and understand it, because our walk with God, as we've said before, is not a theory. It is a reality. The kingdom of God is not a theory. It is a reality. The warfare of the kingdom, the warfare that's going on right now in these end times, is not a theory, but it is a reality. And so much that we have felt the Lord lead us in over the last several years has been to break the word down from just a concept where your mind grabs it and understands it and says, okay, I got it. Well, that never worked in the days of the church age, and it certainly doesn't work in the days of the kingdom age. You can't just grab it mentally and say, okay, I've got it. That's a step. But you have to experience the word, which is experiencing Christ. That's when you really receive the word. That's when the word germinates within you, and it begins to yield a whole shift of your personal paradigm. and you begin to realize that what is at your grasp is so far greater than what you've understood. And Satan has worked overtime to keep the saints in a state of détente, where they're believing for something that is coming, but it hasn't quite come. So it's always out there in the future. Or to put it another way, it would be to say, well, the word comes, and it's for everyone else, but not for you. Or the word comes, and because this is a walk of revelation, you kind of miss the mark and don't see it within yourself. You might see it in another, but you don't see it within you. And the warfare that we're entering into now is largely going to be predicated on our ability to move with the knowledge that we are Christ in the earth, that we are the embodiment of the Godhead, that we have all authority and all power. And that is something that has been my concern, because we're still coming to grips with that. And so often the Lord has come over the years and said, the battle you're in will not be overcome by wisdom or ingenuity or some manipulation. The only way that you will prevail, the only way that you will fulfill why I have sent you, the only way that you will finish becoming, is that you have a revelation born out of touching me, the Lord, in what I've become within you and what you really are. Because we are not as we appear. And we've talked about that. You can look at yourself in the mirror, but you're not who you think you are. That's just part of the deception of living in the soul realm and seeing yourself after the soul and not really knowing the spirit you have. And as the word says, the Father earnestly desires the Spirit that He has caused to dwell within each of us. The Lord knows your spirit, and He desires that communion, that closeness. And so much of what is unfolding and going to unfold now is going to be based on the fact that we have reached in deep enough and touched the Lord and really understood and experienced the reality of the authority that the sons of God have and have been given. And that's the only way that we're going to prevail. It will prevail by the word that we speak. I know the book of Revelation says they overcame by the word of their testimony and the blood of the Lamb. But this is even more than overcoming. This is beginning to move in the authority and dominion that begins to subject the kingdoms of this age back unto the Lord Jesus Christ. And He does it through His channels, the sons of God. People don't really understand what is getting ready to break upon the earth. And it's not the satanic plans and devices of the enemy that are, being orchestrated. What's ready to break upon the earth, and I know I'm touching upon the word tomorrow, are the sons of the living God. That is who you are. That is who I am. So, going back, the way we prevail is one way, through the word that we speak into every given situation. Now, what has been difficult, I would say up until now, over the years, has been that we've been kind of a mixture. The word through our mouths has had faith, but it's had unbelief. It's been a mixture because the soul has been being purified and removed. And so you've had the yes I can, no I can't type of subtle syndrome. But I believe that God has removed enough of that we are prepared and ready to go. Back in 2017, the book that we put out called 2017, The Final Preparation of the Kings and Priests, you and I. At that point, God was wrapping up something in his dealings with the sons and beginning to bring them forth. And this has been 3 or 4 years since. We are so far into this unwrapping of the sons of God. And yet I know we're still hidden, and that's fine. Hidden for the time at which the Lord will reveal. So, my concern is that we get rid of the default and our reaction to everything. Warfare, events that you're dealing with, problems, impasses, whatever. The default that we've had has been a default of the soul. Anger, frustration, fear, how do we deal with this? Who knows? But the new default, the new paradigm of the sons is one of dominion. When you see something and it's not going the right direction, or whatever might be happening, the response is that the sons begin to move in dominion. And I know what we're talking about seems a lot like theory, and it'll seem that way until God, in his unique way, reveals that truth. And when he reveals it to you, he doesn't reveal it to your mind, but he reveals it to your spirit. And that's where it comes alive. And so, in the last couple of weeks, 2 to 4 weeks, we've seen it progressively ramping up, the warfare against the saints. You can feel it. As I said, in the night hours, you hit a point where the veil is the thinnest, around 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. So, as the night hours have ensued over the last couple of weeks, we have seen an increasing presence of satanic assault against us, against others. And more, the warfare to see the kingdom established, the warfare to break the impasses that have been, just on hold, is emerging. And the thing, and here again, we're just talking. This is just family time. We're talking. We'll do more of a formal word tomorrow. If I can do a formal word, I probably can't. But tonight we're just talking. We're just family. We're just sitting around, and we're just talking. Because what has to happen? We've got to realize that what we seek, God has already done. We already have the authority. But we have been bluffed off of our stance time and time again. And our default paradigm hasn't really shifted. And so when these things hit us, you're looking for another solution to that situation you're in, or to the battle that you're in. But invariably, you go and you look through the wisdom of man. Or you could say, okay, Lord, give me some wisdom. Well, but that's not how it's going to work. It will be the authority that makes a difference. And we've had times over the years where the Lord has opened our eyes and we have seen the word as it flows out of the mouth of someone. And we've seen it both from a satanic perspective, where it was like black ink that would just cover the entire congregation. And or we've seen it where it has been this pure, almost like flow of light that would come out of the mouth and would bring illumination and would open the eyes of the blind. And that's very real. And so we've got to understand, and I think I'm just saying it just to remind myself, we don't know what the Word is yet. You know, you can say, well, Christ was the Word, so we are the Word. The Word's in us, but we are the Word. Made flesh, you know, it's a repeat of the Lord. The Lord came, you know, so on and so forth. So the sons are here in the flesh. Okay. So we can kind of say, okay, well, that's the Word. But it still misses something. Because you can leave it out there and say, well, the sons are the Word. But really, the only way, this has to be very personal. You are the Word. I am the Word. And the Lord needs to reveal that. It's a very mystical thing. Because it's Christ in you, it's the Father in you, it's all of this at the same time. And so, as you speak a word that is living and powerful and will not return back to the Lord void for what it was sent. That word is in your mouth. Every impasse that you face, every problem, every challenge, every battle you face, there's only one answer. You click in and you get a deeper grasp of what you are, what He is in you, and you speak the word. And you can say, well, I've tried that, I've done that, but I don't see the results. Well, like we said before, the results could happen on many different levels. You can't sit back and say, well, if it didn't happen exactly as I spoke it and what I'm expecting, then, you know, it didn't happen. And so then what you've done is put a filter over your ability to really see what God is doing and how it's all playing out. Because you can move with authority over here. Let's say you have an angel of light, or you have Satan himself, or whatever you're warring with. You speak that word, and that word begins to break that impasse and break the illusion. How many, I guess before I go on that thought, break the illusion. Oh, but it's real. It's substantive. I'm feeling these pains. I'm feeling this. I'm feeling this. This is real. No, it isn't. It is not. It is an illusion. This realm of the natural is a realm of illusion because Satan controls it and he manipulates it. And through that he can manipulate people to believing this and believing that. Everything is, well, okay, you will become someday, but not right now. And you're still in the battle, and you're still affected and helpless in some ways to deal with it. But the truth is, Satan just tries to move you off your composure, off your position in God. Because you have the authority. You have the dominion. You have it now. And it's going to be a key component in you coming forth as a son and beginning to manifest not some church age idea of sonship, but a reality. You know, where God glorifies you and you come forth with such power, you know, it's unfathomable. That's the word for tomorrow. But going back, now more than ever, we have got to deal with everything by the word we speak. And I don't care if it feels like it's your last breath, you know, and you've got to drag yourself up to speak a word. That is the answer. It's not going to bed and getting some rest. It's not changing your diet. It's not anything. It is the word that comes in the Spirit, and it tears asunder the illusion of the enemy that is being propagated until we ourselves find ourselves buying into the illusion. It's all illusion. This whole world, this passing scene, is illusion. And I, for myself, am tired of buying into the illusion, of accepting the illusion. As though, okay, now how do I manipulate around the illusion to bring about the desired outcome? And there is no way. You can't get there from here. There's only one way. You take a stick of dynamite, the word in your mouth, you speak it, and throw that dynamite right into the middle and blow the heck out of it. You know, you're not going to go over it, you're not going to go around it, you're going to go right through it. And that has been a little lesson I've had to learn over again this week. I'm not interested in manipulating a change or maneuvering around an impasse. We stand and speak the word, and we move right through the impasse. And somewhere in this process, if you haven't seen yet the true fact that you are the Word made flesh, then it will be revealed. This will be the breakthrough. This has to happen. For sonship to begin to happen on a level that we see an embodiment, a change, this must happen first. You begin to realize, I am. I am that I am. I am the authority of God. I am the power of God. I am the dominion of God. No wonder these random things happen throughout the course of your day. Random things. I know we've all experienced random things happening. And it's like, because it's the authority that you are. You know, nothing like going into a building and all of a sudden the lights shut off. When the computers turn off. Oh, that's a strange coincidence. There are no coincidences with the suns. Your vibration, your frequency, your energy affects everything. What you are, even if you don't say a word, affects everything. We talked about intercession many times. And the real intercession, it's not that we shouldn't, talk to the Lord about certain things and go and hit him under the eye. But the real intercession of the kingdom is born out of what you have become. You are intercession. Christ was intercession. Christ is intercession. He ever intercedes for the saints on their behalf. You are intercession. You are authority. 15, 20 years ago, the Lord appeared to me and said, you are authority. And I imagine he was thinking to himself, how long is it going to take for this guy to realize this? Well, a long time it took. A long time. A lot of soul flesh had to get out of the way. A lot of concepts, a lot of fears, a lot of reactions. It all had to clear. And then all of a sudden you wake up one morning and you realize, my God, I am what you said I am. And little did you know that you had just met the Lord, that he had just pulled the blinders off a little bit, and you began to realize the power of the kingdom, the authority of the kingdom, the authority that is going to change this age, the authority that's going to get the job done and begin to bring down and establish is in your mouth. It's in our mouth. It's not scripture. It's not theory. It's not something we want to read about and just think, oh, how nice that is. No, it's a gut-wrenching reality that when it hits you, you are changed. Something is turned within you that is like a fire in your bones. And it just burns out. And isn't that the word in the book of Joel? A fire proceeds before them and a desolate wilderness behind them. Those are the sons of God who have come to the realization and revelation of God in them, of the Word in them. And they march and they don't break ranks. They jump through the windows. Everything, nothing can stand before them. Who is that? That is you. That is me. That is the sons that God is randomly raising up over the face of the earth, however many they are. These are the ones the spirit realm fears. And for this reason, you have been abated and hindered and blocked every step of the way, that you would not come to realizing who you are and what you are. And what you are is really important. More than who, what you are. What God has made you to be. The word that we speak, if we can just let go from our concepts of trying to figure it out, is already here. It's so powerful. Like I said, we've seen it. We've seen it. Anna's seen it watching me as it would come out of my mouth, literally. And you have to stop and say, whoa, wait a second. We really are the sons of God. This really is real. We shouldn't be asking that question, I would say. But the fact remains that the Word is real. And the Word is God. And the Word came and dwelt amongst us. And following Christ's footsteps, we too have drank the cup and become the Word. Book of Revelations, is sweet to the mouth and bitter to the stomach. That's why the cross has been so thorough and so complete, to get rid of the soul flesh, so that the Word of God, God Himself, the Lord Himself, can have free access and oneness with us. And every time you open your mouth, a word is being spoken. And the more you know who you are, the more that word cannot be denied. So anything that's warring against us, and I found myself this past week with the warfare trying to figure out what I'm dealing with. How do I deal with this? And you just don't know. You say, well, I don't really know what I'm dealing with, but I know I'm dealing with something. But the answer, even if you don't know the name of the Spirit or whatever, the answer is you speak the Word, because the Word is within you, and the Word is all-powerful and full of dominion. Satan may have power, but the sons of God, the Lord, the Father, have dominion. Dominion. I don't think yet we have experienced what it's going to be like moving forward from this point to begin to stand and be the oracle of God. Paul said, well, if you're going to speak, speak as the oracle of God. Well, I don't think anybody really understood at that point. They could kind of figure something out. But we're talking about a transformation here. This is part of the unfolding of sonship and the reality of what God is really creating in the earth, that the spirit world really doesn't know what's coming. And it's going to hit them like a block, like a sledgehammer. The emerging of the sons of God. No small thing. But here again, we'll get into that tomorrow. But it's important. Every situation, you begin to find yourself in prophecy. But it has to come up a notch. Let go of the lesser levels and reach in and say, Lord, though I may not understand it, though you may not have touched me yet deep enough for me to really experience it as I would think, nevertheless, the truth is what you said. And I will not doubt what you said, Lord. You said, I'm a son. You said, all authority in heaven and earth has been given to me. Go out and bring in the kingdom. And I say that the first thing that we do with the spirit world, because the spirit world works in secret. They try very, very much to stay concealed, so you don't see them. And that's the whole idea. You're fighting this battle over here, and you don't realize, no, it's a satanic entity here. So I am saying this: everything that you're facing from this point on, every battle, every illusion, every health challenge, doesn't matter what it is. It's all spirit. It's the enemy, and the word you speak is going to begin to shatter it and tear it down. And the word that we're speaking into the earth is continuing to bring an exposing, a pulling back of the curtains. But we have yet to see how deep the exposing of iniquity is going to hit, and how driven the enemy's camp will be to cover it up so they can complete what they think their agenda is. But we just do one thing. We keep speaking the word. We're not going to bow the knee to our emotions, to the soul flesh that maybe hasn't completely died yet. And we stand and say, Lord, there's one way and only one way I can please you. And that is that I believe you. I believe what you said I am. And I believe it now. And in so doing, we become the Lord's delight. And I tell you, whether it takes all night of prophecy and intercession, as we want to call it, or 5 minutes, it doesn't matter. Because we will be the driving force from this point on to see the kingdom established. It must be established. Breakthroughs have to come. The manifesting of the sons of God is here right now. And it's something new that no one has ever seen before. And we'll talk about that tomorrow. But the word is in your mouth. And it's not the word of the church age that just kind of hopes, hit enough things, I'm bound to hit something, the shotgun effect. That was the day of the church age, the day of the Spirit. You've become something that you were in transition to become. You have become the Word. And that Word is all powerful. And the spirit world shakes at the very mention of it. Because you hit a point where you can no longer be maneuvered and manipulated until you're sitting there trying to figure it out. Woe is me. What am I going to do? I don't have enough money to pay that bill. I don't have whatever for this or whatever for that. And they all are going to seem very personal because the battle comes in very personal. We're not at that point yet where the eyes are open and God gives you some swords and you're in there just slaying away the enemy and this and that. That's coming. That's coming. But right now the battle hits very personal. And you don't even recognize. There's a tendency of not being able to recognize the warfare because it is so personal. And so you're duking it out here and you're trying to find an answer here and this over here. And yet the word from the Lord was, you will not prevail through man's wisdom, but you will prevail by the word you speak. And if you hit an impasse, the Lord's going to say, fine, I've given you some dynamite. Light the fuse, throw it in there, and blow the crap out of it. How does the word go? The violent take the king. It's been a while since I've quoted it. Well, anyway, the violent take the kingdom by force. I forget the first part of it. The what's that? Okay. The kingdom suffers violence, and the violent take the kingdom by force. There we go. We've got that on official. So this is what's happening. This is part of the change that is going to happen. If you're part of this end time army, this level of violence and drive is going to possess you even more. Not that you're going to walk around screaming. People can think, "Oh, they'll lock that guy up." But your position in God shifts, and you begin to really know who and what you are and what you have at your disposal. And that's when the satanic powers are going to begin to run. Run. And we've seen them in time again. We've had different principalities come to, I don't know what they were planning to do as they came. But once they saw us, and we saw them, and they knew that, we weren't going to take any crap, they turned and hightailed it, because they came pretty close to their judgment. And the key to judgment is going to be that it comes out of the mouth of the saints, and the saints know who they are. And all this stuff going on the natural scene, which is crazy and is going to get crazier, we'll have an interesting role in how this plays out, but it's yet to be really revealed. But I declare from this night forward, we have only one response. We speak the word. We go after whatever it is. Something comes up and tries to harass us and whatever, we turn around and chase that thing. And if we have to pull out the sword and bloody our sword every night. But the enemy is not going to get away from deceiving the saints. How does it go? The word says, if it was possible, he would deceive the very saints of light. We will not be deceived. We will not be deceived. So that's my burden this evening. I was thinking about Samson in the Old Testament, when he was dealing with the Amorites and a lot of the evil tribes that were withstanding them. He said he picked up the jawbone of an ass and just ripped into them and just slayed them on the left, on the right. It's interesting. The word is written about the sons of God. It says in the New Testament, it says, all these things have been done as an example for you, upon whom the ends of the ages have come. Now, I paraphrase that a little bit, but everything's been done for the coming of the sons. The book of Psalms, I think it's Psalms, or it could be Proverbs. 1,000 will fall on your left and 10,000 on your right, but it won't come nigh you. I don't meditate on those scriptures too much, but if you take it out of the theory, out of just a platitude, and you look at it and say, you know what, that is going to have a real-time manifestation. That as the sons of God walk, fire proceeds out of their mouth, a desolate wilderness behind them, 1,000 fall at their left, and 10,000 at their right. This is the time, this is our time. This is the time right now. Not another year, not 3 years. We probably don't have 3 years. The time is short. And this is who we are. And this is what we must do. And until our eyes open up and we see the world of spirit vanquished at one fell word out of our mouth, we will continue just to not let our sword down, and we will pursue until the enemy flees 7 ways. This is that time. This is that time. And whatever comes against you has been, to a great degree, part of your training, part of removing the conditioning of the old, part of getting you to think as a son, begin to think in a whole new paradigm. It just hasn't been that you just lived under assault without, okay, what are we doing today, Lord? Oh, what is this tomorrow? He's been training the sons of God, training their fingers for war and their hands for battle. But this is the time now. This is the time now. And I'm not too concerned about what's happening on the natural plane. That will be an offshot of what we deal with in the realm of spirit. And the realm of spirit is opening up, and it's going to open up. And how does the Lord think about the sons? The book of Revelations. They loved not their lives unto death. Honestly, I don't believe that we love our lives. This is the surrender. We have come to a place of surrender. We have no point to prove. We're here to do the will of God, to finish the will of God on this generation. And we will not get caught up with the distractions and the illusion and the deception and all the other garbage going on. When it's time to get rid of something, we'll get rid of it. And the Lord will say, okay, speak the word, and let's just shatter this country, whatever. I don't know that we understand how great a preparation has been going into creating the sons of God. The Lord is doing, He does one thing, but He accomplishes 10 in the process. And so a lot of what the sons have been going through has been preparation for this time that we're in, this time of the wrap-up of all things. But the Lord's been doing something even greater than that through all of this. And it was several years ago, He spoke, that the sons are not relegated to the earth plane, to this that we see. But part of their destiny will be to rule worlds. So great a calling, we don't even understand it. And it can be a distraction. And so we just, we don't really pursue it. But what God is doing right now is more far-reaching than just dealing with this age and this final wrap-up. Because it has to do with preparing the sons, the kings and priests of God, to move forward into their deeper calling, which we know very, very little about, but it's pretty amazing. So I think we'll end this word this evening. But this is where we move from. This is our address. You want my address? That's my address. This is our address. This is where we move from. And the gates of hell are not going to prevail against the words spoken out of your mouth and my mouth. And everything that raises its ugly head from this point on, we will come at it with a sledgehammer and beat the crap out of it. We will move through every resistance, everything that stands to withstand and resist God within us and the will of the Father, rather than going back and groveling and, what do I do? I don't know how to fix it, blah, blah, blah. I tell you how you fix it. You speak up, you speak the word, and that word goes through and cuts asunder. Just shatters the illusion, shatters the lie. If it's a spirit of deception, breaks the spirit of deception. If there is a delay, it breaks the delay. How do we proceed to bring in the kingdom? We will proceed by the word that we speak that goes against every bit of resistance and shatters it. I am tired of getting knocked around day in, day out by the spirit world, trying to figure things out. We stand now on the aggressive side. The spirit world has not seen what's coming, but we're coming. It's the rising of the sons of God. And to that end, we will cover that tomorrow, because we're going to dig into some things that are probably going to blow a few fuses, but we need to know really what we are. All right, Ann and I thank you for joining us this evening. We send our blessings. We are the army of God. You are part of the army of God. And I tell you, the world has not seen what is unfolding right now with the birthing of the sons and the establishing of the sons.